Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Lapeef Network. Hello, hello. We have a special guest with us. This is Thon Lexi. I am Ameera, in case you don't know. Welcome back to Lapeef Network, our Sunday show. Thon, how are you? You have to unmute yourself, Thon.
Okay.
There you go.
Am
How you
I? I'm
doing?
good. I'm
Yeah,
good. How you doing?
good, good. Thank you for coming.
Good.
Like,
Glad
I
to
guess
be
this is
here.
your second time, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's always a blast.
Nice. Welcome in, welcome in. So let's just get straight to it, yeah?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
title of this show is Can You Tame a Lion? This can mean many things, but I'm going somewhere with this, and I want you all to follow me into the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole goes very deep and dark, so let's get to it.
All right.
Thon, the thing that I wanted to ask you is this. What power does a woman have over a man?
What power does a woman have over a man? Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Hmm. uh, I think when you be framing it like that, this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be dicey. I
Uh,
do think that women have a degree of sexual. Um, I wouldn't. I want to. Power is can be stretched and flexed in a lot of different ways, but I would say that women to a degree have some sexual power because that'll always be a strength, for women because you guys control access in that area. Men were hunting, so in the when it comes in certain contextual aspects, women have a little bit more power in the sexual arena.
Do you think that that's the furthest that our power stretches is just sexually? Or is there anything else? Because what I'm getting to is this. When I put that title, Can You Tame a Lion? I'm not talking about us as if we were animals. What I mean is men in general can be, how can I say this, aggressive. They can be
Hmm.
stubborn. These are just common traits of men: aggressive, stubborn, dominant. Um, you can't control them. You can't force them to do anything that they don't want to do. It's
Right.
not like us women where it's kind of easy to mold us when we're younger. But for men, I've noticed that they're so stonish. Like they're so stone. Do you know what I mean? They're like
Hmm.
statues. You can't really
Right.
bend them. So
Right.
what I mean by can you tame a lion is this. If a man is enraged, let's say a man is enraged or he's out of control in a way,
Hmm.
and not in a life sense, but he's out of control, like he's just livid. Maybe he's wild
Hmm.
mentally. Can a woman actually bring that man down and calm him to the point where he can think again, can be rational again? Or is it that only the man can decide when he will let that person do this, when they will let that person bring them down?
Mm. Interesting. I think it's both, especially because I think that context is always important. In some sense, I think a man has to be in control of it himself. We're going to get there, but you know, at the end of the day, I do think that a man should trust his woman's counsel, but in a sense, I think that the woman should more trust the man's decision making. And a lot of times, I think it's more about the leader, being able to control the people that he's leading versus the other way around. But you know, in some aspects, of course, you don't want it to be completely to where the man disregards the woman's counsel, but you know I don't think that a woman necessarily should be responsible for bringing a man down and bringing him calm. How like the Hulk is the Hulk until a woman grabs his face and calms the Hulk. It's
Mm,
masculinity doesn't have to be presented as this out of control thing that needs to be, whatever. Even though
control.
masculinity
Yeah.
is something that needs to be managed and
Mm.
requires discipline, so on and so forth. So,
I'll
great
give you an
question.
example. I'll give you an example. So in my life, if you were to ask me the same question,
Mhm,
I would I would be confused too because
mhm.
honestly, I don't know how far a woman can go on her own versus how much a man is letting her control
Right.
him. So, example. let's say, especially in Middle Eastern countries, our men are very, how can I say this? They are kind of, I don't want to use the word brutish, but they're kind of headstrong. Yeah, they're like
Mhm.
headstrong. Like if they want to do something, there's nothing someone can say to them that's going to stop them from
Right.
doing so. So for us women, a lot of times we don't even try to control the man. We just kind of step back and let him do what he needs to do. And then, we console him later, or we'll tell him later, I don't think what you did was right, but you know what I mean? But never will we actually try to jump in to
Mhm.
calm him down like that. It's
Right.
very rare that you ever see that. So
Mhm.
this is why I'm asking you, is it possible? So moving on beyond that, if we think about I think about the power dynamic, and I want to ask you, aside from, okay, I want to find a way to word this question because I want you to think a little bit deeper with me.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, aside from sexually, what other power a woman holds over a man. Because this sexually cannot be the only power that a woman holds over a man. Because if that were the case, I don't believe that men would be doing what they do for women all because of a sexual benefit. There has to be something else that women
Mhm.
bring this power to men. There has to be something else. Now, I
Well,
don't know if you have an
well, I
answer
think
for that.
well, I think it's the terminology that might be tripping me up. Like, well, in regards to like value, women offer a ton of value to men,
Mm,
especially in the inspiration category. Women have been muses for men, for years. Great men for years.
mm,
Women also are, of course, a great help. Just women can be a great supplementary help to a man's life, to a man's family structure. I think that just the fact that a woman can do things that a man can't do. A man needs a woman for a lot of reasons, and I think that does give a woman power, just for the fact that a woman is needed for unique reasons. And
but that's not where I
I
was
do think
getting
that
at. I wasn't getting at
okay.
value because value is different than power. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
different. So that's why I wanted to deep dive in, but maybe we'll take it
Okay.
from a different way. I'll ask you this.
Mhm.
What control does a woman have over a man? Do you think that a woman can force a man or entice a man or make a man more out of control? Let's say this man is calm. He's a normal person. He's very cool headed all the time. What can a
Mhm.
woman do? Do you think that women can do, well, other than irritating him to the point of no return?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
what power do you think a woman has over making a man out of control? Because if you know, a lot of elders will say, a woman, the right woman in your life can create a paradise for you, but the wrong woman in your life can create a living hell. So,
Mhm.
when we talk about it like that, what do
Okay.
you think that a woman can make a man out of control and how?
I, I think that I think a man that isn't fully coming to himself as a man, you can make that man, come out of himself. I think that a man who has decided who he wants to be will decide exactly how he wants to set boundaries in his life, and he's gonna find a woman who fits just that. So, uh, I don't think it's a matter of power. It's just a matter of who is willing to fit what he is, the plan that he has set, and that's going to look different for each guy, so I hope that gives some sort. We can keep
It's
picking
a
at it,
really
but
hard it's a really hard thing
I
because, like
like
I
it.
said, I've been
I
thinking
love
about
it.
this. I have had my mind set
Mhm.
on this because I was going through the tubes, and
Mhm.
I saw a few videos of, some of you guys might know Reba TV. She
Mhm.
does a lot of reactions to videos,
Yeah.
and
Oh
I've
yeah.
watched a few of her reactions. And
Mhm.
some of the guys, she did a reaction to this one guy. They were asking him like what he learned about female nature and women from
Mhm.
being a simp, from being a simp.
Mm.
And his responses is what kind of triggered this question in me, like, do women have this power over men, or is it something that men relinquish to the woman in order to, I don't know, maybe live better or to have more, I don't know. That's why I was curious.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking you all of this. I know it sounds weird, but This is why I ask you, can a woman make a man aggressive or out of control? And I want to answer this from my perspective. In my perspective, I do believe that a woman can make a man out of control, a man that, how can I say this? If she is around a man long enough, she will
Mhm.
learn the ways of that man. She will know his weaknesses. She will learn his, um, maybe his areas where he's not the strongest, which is a weakness. So what I want to say is, when women learn that kind of stuff, I feel like women can find a way to hit a nerve, to strike a nerve that can send a man out of control. Hence why you see men that are driving with the woman on the hood of his car, and he's still driving down the freeway. He's out of
Right.
control. That man has
Yeah.
lost it. She hit a nerve. She struck a nerve.
Yeah.
Or or if you see men who just, I don't want to use violent terms, but they delete a woman because they have just lost it. They just snapped and lost it. Now,
Mhm.
would you argue that that man was already out of control? That man, that already something was wrong with him, or he was a weak man? Or is it that this can
Mm.
happen to anyone?
This is good. You wanna know what it makes me think about? It makes me think about, men who are put in situations where they snap because of a situation with their children or something like that. Where a situation where a woman typically has a little bit more leverage automatically. So especially when you use the word power, I think about the system and how a lot of men, as soon as you end up in a situation with a woman where you have a baby with her, all of a sudden she's granted a ton of leverage automatically over your
Mm,
child's life, over your life. So talk about power, fellas, when talk about the decisions you make out here in the dating game. So I guess if that's what you mean, we talk about in the
mm.
area of reproduction, that's power right there for sure on the
So,
female side, especially when it comes to how everything is structured. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, 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 you're fine. So you actually reached a point that we're getting to. Now we're getting somewhere. So we're talking about the power. Now, you might say that this power isn't inherently her power, but this is a power that she is given because of circumstances, whether it be a child, whether it be the court system. But I that's why I was wondering, is it a natural power, or is it something that is societal that's giving her a power that is making this man go crazy? Because if we were in, let's say, let's just say we're back in the caveman days. There
Mhm.
is no family court. There is no system of, the woman has a power. Would she naturally have any power over that man if she really wanted to? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't know. I think it's all societal, and the woman is
Mm.
actually powerless, but the society makes her powerful.
Mm, mm. There is, because but I think that a man's legacy, I think, will always be. Well, I think a man's legacy would have been important to him, his seed, or I hope so. Without a lot of the societal, structures, like, or maybe that could be wishful thinking. But because you do make a strong point, strip a lot of this stuff away, and make it fair game, and women won't be necessarily incentivized to just start a family randomly, or just get
Mhm.
pregnant by the next guy who has like money. There's so
Mhm.
much societal incentive for women to make these awful decisions. So, oh yeah, great stuff. When just thinking about the area of just like,
See,
and
we're
so
getting
and
there.
it makes people, oh yeah, let's get it. I'm
We're
loving
getting there. We're
it.
getting there. I knew it was going to be hard to start it, but we're
Yeah.
getting there. I want to say thank you to the super chat. Thank you, Samuel. He said, women hold the power of reproduction. A good woman can act as a tempering influence on a man's impulses as well. But
Oh
why?
yeah.
See, I'm getting there. I'm
Uh-huh.
not letting this
And I'm
go
starting to
because
see
I'm
where
in
you're
my
going with it.
Socrates today. I'm in my Socrates today.
Let's go.
Why? Why do you say that, Samuel? So Samuel said, she has, what is it? Tempering influences. Why? Why? Is it her femininity that tempers the man? Is it the society? Is it, what is it? I want to know. I am so hungry for the answer to this question.
I think that I think without women, without the hunt for women, I think society would look a lot different if men didn't desire, the need to eventually secure the best woman that they could secure. I think we would see men moving a lot in a much different way in society. You wouldn't see men as eager and as moving with a sense of urgency in society. And that's actually power in itself, no doubt about it. Just the fact that I think if you were to remove women from society, or the competition for a man to, an opportunity for the man to compete for, a good quality woman, I think society would look a lot different. Society is structured the way it is, really in general, so that women can be comfortable, and that there's power in that, just in that general outlook. But when you talk about like a woman having power over a man's emotions, you make a great point about once a woman knows a man, fellas, don't try to hide from her once she knows you. There's power in that, in the fact that your woman sort of knows your ins and outs, knows your flaws, and knows your vulnerabilities. So, and we see how much power women have when these situations break apart, but that could speak more to your societal thing when it comes to divorce, and how men are worried about, what a woman might, uncover, what she might even try to take, their,
Hmm.
of course, the societal aspect. Of course, I think women have a lot of power, but like you said, is it just? Not so sure. We'll see.
This is what I'm saying. So this is why like I said, I'm on the Socrates role today. Like I'm asking who,
Yeah.
what, when, where, how, why they do it. When did it happen?
Yeah.
I'm curious, and that's why I say I want to know the answer to these questions. And another thing is this: if we do hold any power over men, are we being responsible with the power that we may or may not possess? Because women, I've noticed, especially women today, they see no, how can I say this? To every action, there is a reaction. There's something and a consequence, right?
Hmm.
There's no consequences to a lot of the things that women do today, especially like I said, when I saw that video from Riva TV speaking about the man and what he learned about female nature from being a
Hmm.
simp. That
Right.
that video from that man, that interview, Don, you have to check it out. That oh my god, that video, it had me on the edge of my seat, like, what have I been missing all this time? Am I
Yeah.
missing something? Because I'm not understanding why this man went from this to this. So he went from being a simp to, I guess now he's calling himself more of a red pill man.
Hmm.
This man has seen such bad things, right? He knows the bad things, and he still has trust that he's going to find a woman.
Right.
This says to me that even though you know that there's bad things, I think that he felt like I know how to control these bad things. Now that I'm aware of them, I can have a look out for them so I won't be damaged like I was before.
Right.
So, do you think that women are responsible with the power that they may or may not possess? Because with power comes responsibility.
In the modern era, absolutely not. Especially women in the West have not been responsible with the power. Especially when you see, women have the power to, like you said, how easy it is for women to leave marriage in the West, or just in any, just how frequently women leave versus, the other way around. I think that because women have the power to end marriages, they do. And because they have that, and men typically, like you said, are more firm and planted into the ground. Men are much willing to work through certain things, to see a marriage through. Which means, a lot of times a man is a little bit more solid and in the ground with his morals and whatever. It isn't a dance. It is an emotional dance. Irreconcilable differences to me means like an emotional divorce, basically. So, or a divorce because somebody isn't feeling stimulated, or isn't,
It's
or
mostly
just,
about a happiness thing. If you
yeah, it's
notice,
like,
when people
right.
say it's irreconcilable, it's just I'm not happy, and
Hmm.
the thing about being happy is happiness is a state of mind. It comes and goes. That's how I see happiness. Now, people
Yeah.
might differ. What I think most people are speaking about when they're talking about happiness, I think they're speaking about being content. Being content
Hmm.
with your life is different from being happy. If you are content, you are okay with how things are, you are okay with the circumstances. They may not be the best, but they're not the worst, and you're
Right.
okay. That
Right.
doesn't mean that you're happy. Now, being happy, is kind of an extreme form of excitement and glee and euphoria, and no one is going to experience that type of high all throughout a marriage.
Exactly.
No one's going to experience that. So what I think people are basically saying when they're talking about being happy is being content. Are
Hmm.
you content in your marriage? Are you content with your life? These are different things than being happy. And I
Right.
think that's what a lot of people think, when they watch movies, when they see movies and they see only the euphoric side of relationships, only
Hmm.
the high of a marriage. They don't see all of the dark times or the rough
Yeah.
times or the times when maybe you guys aren't talking for a month. You don't
Right.
see all those things. But you
Hmm.
think that if you go through that, if I go through a time when I'm not talking with my husband for a month, that must mean that I need to divorce. Because on the movie, everyone else seems happy and they got through their fight in 5 minutes while I'm sitting here for a month and I'm still fighting. You're
Right.
not going to be like everyone else.
Facts.
So I look, I
No,
know
I
this
hear
has
you.
been quite a
That's
bit.
deep.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I just really need to speak about this.
Yeah.
Now, my last question to you is this. Now, this one, you got to answer honestly,
Okay.
okay?
All right. Let's get it.
Do you even have control over yourself?
Oh, yes, this is a good one. Um, I've gotten to a place as a man. I want to answer it personally, then I'll answer it generally. Me personally as a man, I've gotten to a place where I certainly feel I'm in control of myself in the important areas like discipline and, finances, discipline, fitness, health, so on and so forth, the things that are important when it comes to, and my emotions. I think when it comes to making money, a man being able to being in control of his emotions is incredibly important. And I think we're seeing a lot of men, especially being raised in female led homes, we're seeing a lot of men who are being more led by emotion, and that's not a good thing. We need a lot more men who have their feet planted in the ground and are disciplined. I think when you're disciplined, the matter of controlling yourself, all that stuff kind of just falls into place. I think if we have more men who are disciplined and working towards being leaders and so on and so forth, we'll have men who are in control of themselves. So, I personally believe like in certain communities, you have a good amount of leaders. I would say personally in my community, in the Black community, we could use more leaders. Like I said, we have a generally a female led community. So I think we see a disparagement of leadership, but that's going to get better. That's going to change, especially with the manosphere and growing.
Well,
So,
I mean, I talk about this all the time on my personal channel as well. Like all of these female politicians, all these females
mhm.
in power, and everybody knows how I think about it, guys. I'm sorry in the chat. I'm sorry. This is me. You guys have known me from the beginning to be this way, and f your feelings. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. But guys, I'm serious. You guys have known me to be this way. I don't think women should be in power. I don't think women are capable of ruling as men are. They're not as capable of doing it well. And we see that in the single motherhood. If, oh God, okay, hold on one second.
Sorry.
If in the single motherhood, if we see that women, when they are left to rule a household by themselves, that they do very poorly, how do you think a woman is going to run the world? Okay, men, it has been already studied that men are better single fathers, better single parents than women. Okay,
Mm.
there's a reason for that. And people always say, well, it's because he's a disciplinarian. Oh, no, 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 no. It goes beyond that. Men are more level headed. The majority of the time, yes, there will be men who are abusive.
Mhm.
That's not the majority. Let's talk about the majority. Majority of men are level headed. They are the providers. They're not as emotional. And when they bring a new person in their home, they are still in control over the home. If a woman brings a new man into her home with a cub, a child of another man, things are just out of control. Unless that man is super, it takes a superman to be a good stepfather.
It does.
That is something that I commend for anyone. And F your feelings. I still think women are bad leaders. Women don't have the capability to do it. And I say that even for myself. People,
Mhm.
I'm not speaking for the women out there. I'm speaking for me too. As
Right.
logical as I am, I'm still not going to be a better leader than a man. a man that, that knows how to be a man. Let's just be honest. I mean, there are
Right.
some men out there who act like women, and that's different.
Facts.
But I know that I won't be as good as,
Okay.
yeah.
There we go.
So
You kind of glitched up a little bit. There we go.
yeah, my computer got stuck for a second. Sorry, guys. I
That's
think
all right.
it's like hot. Okay, so I'm gonna get the link in the chat so then we can go ahead and get some callers in because I want
All
to
right.
give you guys the same questions because oh my
Yeah.
God,
It's a good
poor
one.
Thon. I feel so bad for Thon. I
Oh
gave you
no,
these
this
hard
was good.
questions.
No, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them. I actually I love a challenge like that in that way. These are great questions. Especially the ones in the beginning, the first couple ones were definitely challenging. Never been thrown anything like that before, but this has been fun.
And here's Lou. Look at even Lou. She says that she agrees with me because she said we're not wired to be leaders like men are.
Yeah.
Women aren't made, we're not made for this. We're not made for people to come in and check on us or check in with us all the time. We're
Right.
not made to be saluted to like, oh, yes, sir. We're not made for that.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah. No
us.
matter no matter how much a woman is originally into a guy, once she realizes that she has to be in a leadership role for the majority of the time, that interest starts to spike. It starts to spike negatively. It doesn't matter how much she was charmed or impressed by the guy in the beginning. Once she realizes that when hard decisions have to be made, she can't look to him. That demerits him as a man because it's not the natural order how things are supposed to go. That's why I say, guys, no matter where they are economically, so on and so forth, draw boundaries, strict boundaries, so that a woman sees that you have a way, because she does not want to come in and enforce law. She doesn't want to come in and help create structure. She wants you to do that, and you have to
Yeah,
do that. So
yeah. And that's being shown. And Kevin Samuels did something that no other person in the world had done before him, which was expose what women really want, what they really desire. Because honestly, women, we say one thing, but we want the next,
hmm
And Kevin, he has exposed that so beautifully that women say they want this, but then they're getting this or they're asking for that,
hmm
And one of those things is the whole leadership argument. That is a problem. Women, have you guys noticed? I think it was Jesse Lee Peterson. He said something like, the moment a woman starts leading you, that's when you're doomed. That's when men fall, is when they follow a woman.
hmm
And it's written somewhere in the Bible, he says. Now, I haven't read that part of the Bible, but
Right.
guys, no, I completely agree with that because I don't think that women should be leading anything.
Yeah. And feminine women don't want to lead anything. Like, like, I love that femininity requires masculinity. They don't see it as something that is, optional. It's because she understands that she needs a man to, uh, to survive in the world and to have a proper family. Shouts out to the Crimson Cure. Love seeing her
Princess
down there.
Peter.
Yeah. Big fan of her. But yeah,
Me
when you
too.
talk about women and their power, so on and so forth, you can't help but lean towards societal things, so on and so forth. But this has been a great discussion. These have been great questions. Difficult
Thank
but great
you.
fun.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to get the link in the chat. I don't know
Yeah, let's
if
get
it's
some
posted.
callers.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to get it. I don't know if I can post it from this side. Let me see. Maybe I can post it in the. I don't know what's wrong with my voice today. I'm like, I'm like, oh my goodness. I swear I haven't been like screaming at anyone or something. Um, yeah, I'm trying to see how I can post it. One second, guys. Give me one moment. Thon, you can go ahead and talk about talk about
Oh
anything for a second.
yeah.
I'll be
You still
right
talk
back.
about what? Okay, go ahead.
Anything, anything. I'll be right back.
Okay, but yeah, I think discussing men having control over themselves, when have women having control over themselves. I definitely think that when it comes to men, when a man has control over himself, you see the family structure work in a much more cohesive manner. A man is a much better manager of chaos. Women tend to have an emotional response to chaos, and that's why it seems when a woman's put in a leadership role, things tend to get shaky. It isn't that a woman can't get the job done, but the manner in which it gets done is important. Um, that's why I think when a woman is forced into a leadership role, you often see a woman need a pat on the back for having to do just that, because it's more strenuous for her in that female biological role than it is for a man to manage the chaos. We're built for it. Let us do it. Okay? Like, seeing modern women try to share some of the leadership, 50-50. Why would you want more work in your life to try to prove a point to be biologically equal to something you'll never be equal to? I think it's counterproductive and it's hurting dating. Okay, she's back.
I love it. I listened to the whole thing. That is exactly what we're always talking about.
Yeah,
But one thing that I've noticed about you is that you're I feel okay, now look, I hate saying I feel, but I'm gonna say it. I feel like when you address these things, you address them so much nicer than I do. I feel like you're so much nicer about it than I am. I don't know
yeah.
why. I feel like you have like a more calm way of saying things, while me, I'm just like, you know,
Well,
spazzing out.
I think that that's how women should address the other women at this point with how bad things are getting. I think women should be. We've seen in the manosphere how women, they want to hear men, express themselves honestly, but it's something different about when you hear Crimson Cure, or when you hear a woman, when you hear these other platforms, when you hear other women speak up and say the things that women need to do and change in the dating world. It's more, it makes more of an emphasis. So I'm learning now, especially now that we've gotten here, we've established a platform that I can have these conversations without having to shock women. We're starting to have a lot more women jump in there and do the work, because Mr. Samuels had already mentioned how women are going to have to get other women to like start to buy into the ideas of femininity and starting to normalize it and making it, something that's not stigmatized in a negative way, but
Women are
encouraged.
afraid to speak to each other, Thon. They're
Yeah,
scared. Women are
yeah.
scared of the reaction because women, like I said, women are vicious, especially between one another. A lot of things that men don't see. Now, this is what I'm telling you. A lot of things that men don't see
What's the
in
game?
women world.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's scary. It's dangerous. It's scary. Claws are
mhm.
out. I mean, and like even when women physically fight, there's no rules. There's scratching. There's hair pulling out from the roots. There's all kinds of things. And this is how brutal and vicious women can be. So, okay, so I have a link posted in the chat, guys. Please feel free to call in. Call in. I want to ask you guys the same question and see if you can answer it, because I don't think you can, because I think this is a very difficult question. It's hard for anyone to answer this kind of question, because how how do people don't really think about those things. They don't really think about power dynamics in this way. That
There we go.
Don, you just
There
like
we go.
you like this is
I don't know what happened. It glitched up. I was like, I know that they got me paused looking crazy, like, okay, because that's what always happens to me. Every time something like that happens, they've got Don like, all right, okay.
can I just be honest for a second? Look, when anytime like your computer glitches or you
Mhm.
have bad connection, you always get paused on the times where you're like,
Exactly. It happened the first time I called into the Lapeef show. Very first time. It's becoming a
no
thing.
way. It's so. I mean, I've actually gone back and looked at shows where my internet wasn't the best or something, and every time
Yeah.
it paused, it never paused on the pretty parts where I'm like looking nice. It always
Right.
paused.
Never. Never. They never catch you in your best angle.
No,
Like, oh, I meant to do that. No, never. It's always the worst picture you've ever seen of it.
I literally like
Funny.
with my mouth open and one eye halfway closed, one is open. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Let me ask you also this.
Okay.
So in this, like, so I have something that I commonly say, and I've gotten criticism for it. When we talk about men, I
Hmm.
I said that I don't believe in alpha and beta being used for humans. I don't believe in
Right.
these terms being used for humans, and I've gotten a lot of pushback from it,
Mm.
for saying that.
Yeah.
Mostly because people say, well, how can you say that? And your name is Exiled Lioness. And I'm like, well, Lioness is my nickname. That's
Hmm.
been my nickname as a kid. That's just something
Right.
that I was called. But At the same time, hey cuz. So at the same time, it's like I don't believe that alpha beta should be used, especially from women to address men. If men want to use it between themselves, I believe that's different, but I don't believe
Yeah.
that we should be
Did,
using it because
I
these
think
are
did you freeze?
animalistic
You
terms.
still
This is
there,
like,
Mara?
yeah, something wrong?
Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think we're glitching up again.
Oh, am I back?
Okay. Let's hope I'm not looking. So I'm
Am I
not looking
back or is it
crazy.
you?
Let's
Okay.
see.
Welcome Skywalker and
There we
welcome
go.
Detox. How are you guys doing today?
Hopefully we will
You,
pop back in. There we go. There we go.
Are you okay, son? Are
I'm
you
like, what's
okay?
going on, man? I was like, is that me or I don't know. Might
Okay,
be.
so hey Skywalker, hi Detox. What do you guys
What's
have?
up? How
Oh,
y'all
actually, no,
doing?
I'm not gonna ask you guys that. I'm gonna ask you guys the actual question.
Oh
Are
yeah.
you guys ready?
I already had a
Detox.
response. I already had a response ready for the first question that you had asked.
I don't believe you. Okay, answer it then, because I know you can't answer it. Go.
So there's like 4 to 5 fronts where your original question was, do women have power over men, right? Or what is the power that women have over men? Initially, there, or so to speak, there's really 4 to 5 fronts where women can exert power over men, and in general, that's any. It doesn't have to be specifically women over men or men over women. This is the 4 to 5 fronts that any person can exert any type of power over another human being. Typically, women do these in indirect ways with more persuasive measures. So you'll see a general trend between men and women. Women will do things indirectly in more persuasive ways. So like a woman can be physically more powerful than a guy, right? This we could be talking about like abusive partners, or let's say she's an MMA fighter and she's dating like a little twerpy dude. That's one.
Okay.
Second front is financially, right, where she can get him to buy her things like that, or et cetera, et cetera. Or in the longer sense, like the longer down the road, like kids and child support and things like that. So it's
Uh-huh.
legally, financially, sexually, or no, legally, financially, physically, sexually would fall under physically, and then emotionally, where let's say a guy has a crush on a chick, and she's not giving him the time of the day, and then he keeps going back and back and acting chasing after her. That would be emotionally. So those are like they're sometimes sexually could be inside physically or not, but typically sexually would fall under physical exertion.
You know
So
what? I didn't think about those aspects actually. When you talk about even with the boy with the crush, that makes sense because clearly she has some kind of power over him and he
yeah,
keeps coming back to her and maybe she doesn't even respond or she doesn't even like him back, but she has this power over him.
yeah. At
Mm,
the end of the day, on any one of those 4 to 5 fronts. So the reason why I say five is because sexually it can be classified either or. I just, for sake of the argument, for simplicity, classify sexually under physically. So a man can allow himself to be a man can allow himself to be led on any one of those fronts. Any person can, but typically an emotionally weak man would fall under that organization. So that's it. That's all I got to say. I'm out.
Thank you.
thanks.
I want to address the super
Thanks.
chat really quickly. Thank you, Sweet Melody Speaks. She says, hit the like button. Thank you so much.
And I'll
Thank
get
you
the
so
lights
much.
up.
Yeah, I know. I think even Anton has a show going on right now too. That's I think that's why. But hold on one second. But if you hit the like button, we can get more people to come over here too. Yay. So what do you think about Detox's answer?
There were some things I could get with. Some things it was too slippy for me to have a handle on. He was
Like which one?
saying, yeah, like he was saying, like one thing that I agree with was when he was talking about how women have power in the seduction aspect. Um, when it comes to the seduction aspect, I think women will always have as an advantage when it comes to sexual seduction, but that's certainly not her only influence. I think we've hit on a lot of other great areas where women also have power, but since men are on and hunt for what you are in control of and what you control access for, because the truth is, we can talk about love, whatever, so on and so forth. Men, we are very simple creatures, and the reason why fitness has a lot to do with femininity is because men are in search of a body, in a sense, and that doesn't narrow women down just to something sexual, but there is power in the fact that a man needs a woman to, if a man desires a family, desires, a legacy, he wants to do that with the best possible woman that he can get.
I
There's a power in the
see.
fact that
You're
that
talking
need
about a
that need
vessel.
exists. Yeah, the fact that that need exists in most successful men, most accomplished men, you see a woman somewhere in the vicinity. You don't see a lot of very wealthy men who, don't have some sort of family structure. So just the fact that most men in general are looking for family structure.
Wait, Don, wait, wait,
Oh,
wait. You had me and then you lost me for a second
okay.
because are you saying that behind every successful man there is a strong woman?
No, well, I don't
Because
want to
that's
get
what you just
cliche.
said,
No, no,
and
no.
I'm
I
going to
don't want to get
respectfully.
that. No, 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 no. That's why I said typically, and I'm speaking in a general sense because of course not all. You have successful men. You have men who never marry who still do good. But the truth is I think men who can commit to structure are trusted more in business. I think that you see a lot more successful men, they also have a successful family structure. But I'm not saying that there aren't men who succeed without it, because
No,
certainly you have
wait,
exceptional
Don.
men. But
Don, I have to look. I look. This is where. See, you're a lot nicer than I am because me, I'm up your feelings. Um, no, not you though, not you. You know what
no, I
I'm
know what
saying
you mean.
in
I
general.
know what you mean.
Don, I disagree. I
Okay.
disagree because when you say, a lot of times successful men are married, I don't believe that it had anything to do with his success because how can I explain this?
Well, that's a different thing. Like,
No way.
yeah.
You know,
Okay,
you
go
said what
ahead.
you said.
Go
You
ahead. Go
said what you
ahead. Go
said.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I cannot say that that had anything to do with his success. Just because he has a family at home or he had a woman did not mean that she contributed in any way to this man's success. If a man is going to be successful, he's going to be successful. That's how I believe. I believe there's
No,
nothing that can stop this man because he
yeah.
is a go-getter. He
Hmm.
gets up and he does that because that is who he is. It's just like my
Yeah.
husband. My husband wakes up at the crack of dawn every morning. I'm still, drool coming out. I'm still
Right.
laying in bed. And something motivates him to just get up and leave the house, which I don't understand what force is motivating him to do that. But that's just who he is. And he was like that
Hmm.
before he met me, and he'll be like this for the rest of his life. It's just who he is. So
Right.
just because he has a woman, now people can say, oh, this man is like this and he has a woman. So
Hmm.
behind every successful man is a strong woman.
Right.
I had nothing to do with his success. I didn't
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
definitely
look
don't
at that
agree
way.
with that cliche. No, 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 no. I definitely don't agree with that cliche. I think that successful men, benefit from having a family, a lot of the times. I think that it isn't necessarily a necessity. Like you said, a man is going to be great, regardless. If a man has it in him that he's going to succeed, he's going to succeed. He's going to get to that mark. Men are, like you said, have to have a battery pack when it comes to masculinity. But I do think that men who can commit to structure tend to have a lot more harmony in their personal lives. And that there's benefit in that. I do think that there's benefit in that. I don't think that a man needs that to be successful. That certainly isn't what I'm trying to relay. I don't coach that type of teaching. But I
Mm.
do think that a family structure can be beneficial. It can be supplementary. Like we had talked about before, I believe that a woman is great supplementary help to a man who already has something going. So if a woman gets with a man and he can employ her, he has something for her to do. He's a man of structure, man of leadership, so on and so forth. So
So I see
that's what I'm
people
trying
in
to
the comments saying that just having the family motivates him, or something like that. Having a family motivates him. Um,
say. Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with that because, like I said, just from
Yeah.
experience, this man has been this way. He's just that.
Right.
Skywalker, what's your views on this? What do you think?
What's up, man?
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I'm sorry that
How you
I need to
doing?
talk a bit. I was having some trouble with my headphones. Um, I just heard you guys talking about men in relationships that are successful. I think most men will be successful regardless if they're in relationships, but you
Mm,
do have a small minority of men that kind of do better when they're in relationships, right? Because they might have a motivational problem, and they actually like need um, that woman to be there, right, to kind of keep them on track and striving for something. I actually have a family member that is pretty much very much like that. Very like unmotivated, and then when he gets in these relationships, he tends to do a whole lot better. So I think it really depends. But for the most part, I think that most men that are successful and in successful marriages would have done that regardless if they were with somebody or not.
I'm so judgmental. I'm so sorry. Just in my whole head, all I saw was, I know I shouldn't think this way, but I'm gonna unmute you, Skywalker, while we speak because you have background noise. But when you speak, you can unmute. The only thing that was going through my head when he was saying this was weak. I was just thinking to myself, weak, 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 weak. Because if you need a woman to ground you, you're weak. But at the same time, I can recognize that no matter if it's weak or not, there are some people out there who are like that.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure if my opinion of saying that they're weak is true or if it's right. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that they're weak. Maybe some people see motivation in other people. Do you know what I mean? They get their motivation from other people. But the people that
I
I'm
don't think
talking
you're
about,
wrong for saying. I don't think that you're wrong for saying that it's weak. I think that men certainly have to at least have a structure set up on there. You definitely have to be your own source of discipline. You can't be looking for a woman to get you motivated about life or to get you off the couch. That is dead. That is not like that. That's an issue with masculinity, no doubt about it. If you need a woman to help you have some urgency about life and she needs to tell you to go fill out that job application or to go pursue that trade or whatever the case may be, that is on you. That is that's a personal issue. You were going to be that dude sitting on the couch either damn way. I'm sorry, either way you were going to be that guy sitting on the couch. You know
isn't
what I
that
mean?
scary though?
Same way how if you're successful, you were always going to be successful. That woman is there for, a different type of support, not to make you be the man you're supposed to be.
Um, you guys are absolutely right. And I would also say that it's a form of weakness as well, right? And what I can say is that since this is a family member of mine, and I was kind of able to see like how this whole thing kind of transpired. Um, there's certainly been like a lack of accountability um, on his part ever since like childhood, right? And he was in like a single parent household for
Right.
quite some time, right? With no kind of like male guidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've also seen is that this is pretty typical of men that come up in those single parent households as well. Or maybe not typical, but it'll at least be much more common than if they grew up in a two parent household and
Right.
had that actual um, masculine figure in their life.
I want to address this sugar bum. You're saying why else do men strive for success if it isn't for women and family? Because some men are just natural leaders. Some men are just naturally successful in everything they do. Not everything they do, but in most things that they do. Some men have drive that doesn't depend on a woman or a child. That
Yeah.
that's an absurdity. That's
Yeah.
almost to say, why do women have motivation? Well, I guess it doesn't count that way because women, honestly, we're not made for that. But men don't need a woman to be motivated. That's an absurd thing to say, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, because they want to find a motivated man. So that debunks it right there. Women don't want to be pursued by a man who is unmotivated. They're not excited or aroused by a man who is unmotivated. So like a woman doesn't meet a guy, oh, I found this great man. Now I have to get him motivated to be what he's supposed to be. No woman would find that to be an ideal circumstance.
That's women thinking that we're more important than we are. That's us thinking
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
I am the reason why he gets up. I'm the reason why he goes to work. No,
Mm-hmm.
you're
Or
not.
significance.
Or you
Or
shouldn't be.
significance. Yeah.
Right. You shouldn't be the reason why he gets up in the morning.
Yeah.
You should be there because he was already motivated to do so. Not,
Exactly.
maybe like I said, I think differently, I guess. What do you think about that,
Yeah.
Skywalker?
I think that that's also a trait of men that grow up in and they have a lot of feminine energy, right? I'll say even with myself, right? I grew up in a two-parent household for about half my life, and then I was just with my mom for a little while. And I can say that there's a very very tangible difference between the paths that I was on during both of those situations, right? When my father was there, he was a great asset. He was the breadwinner, owned several businesses, right? I was super into science and, wanted to do STEM and everything like that. And then when it was just me and my mom for a while, that's when I kind of started, really getting into trouble and all that kind of other stuff. And what that led to was me going through my 20s, right? Not really knowing what manhood was really about and what it really, really looked like, right? I got married at about 22, and my wife ended up leaving after a couple years, in part because I didn't know how to really control and just take care of it and entire household, right? So it took until recently, because I'm 34 now. It's been within like the past like 6 years that I kind of had to like heavily deprogram myself, right? Because I had a lot of feminine traits that I can honestly say. And, once I started to get rid of those traits, is really when I started to thrive, right? And to
Can I
just,
ask you, Skywalker, really quickly, how were you able to come over this? How were you able to get over that hill and find it?
oh, it took a lot of self searching, right? Um, Let me just give you this example. When my wife left, I thought that just because I didn't hit her or like, I never really yelled at her or anything like that, I felt like, she was supposed to stay, right? Like, and I didn't realize that there was other things that I was supposed to be doing. So I blamed her for like quite a while, right? I was like, yeah, she just left, right? And it took a lot of soul searching. I had to do some therapy, right? You know, finding counsel with like older men, right? That I can look up to, and things like that. But it really, really took years. And if you look at the way that men are portrayed in the media, period, right? We are pretty much told from a very, very young age that, right, like if we're not on our game, then we ain't nothing, right? So it really took me a while to be able to understand what I really needed to do, to really come out of that and to be able to, really flourish and grow into the man that I'm becoming now.
I thank you for sharing that story. Just really quickly, how is your life now? Have you remarried? Are you
No, I have not remarried. I am open to it, right? I was actually just in a relationship up until about 2 weeks ago, but because I I had a pretty unruly chick that I was dealing with, and I just kind of got tired of it. But
good for you?
um, yes, as for now, yes, I am definitely open to remarrying. I feel like there is like a certain feeling that men can hit in the business world if they're not married, just because how they are perceived, right? So I am definitely looking to, you know, do that one more time, but I'm just taking my time vetting whoever I have to properly vet.
Have these spaces helped you in, well, I guess you say you just got out of a relationship like 2 weeks ago, so I guess we're not there yet. We're not there to the next person yet. But
No,
thank you. I want to thank you, and please feel free to call in and like share with us, what's going on next, because I'm interested. I'm interested to see
Thank you.
where this goes.
Yeah.
absolutely. Before I go, I want to say thank you to Time, and I want to
Oh
say
yeah, no
thank you
problem, man.
to Ameera as well. Your story, and you just being who you are, it inspires a lot of us men, and it really lets us know like what we should be looking for. Actually, the other day, I was looking at one of you guys' videos from the past when you were asked, "What do you bring to the table?" And that was one of the most incredible answers I've ever heard to any question, right, in this entire space. And I just really wanted to say thank you for being who you are. So
I really appreciate
Dope.
that, Sky. You have no
Dope, man.
idea.
Take
Thank
care,
you so
man.
much. I appreciate that.
absolutely, you guys have a great evening.
You too,
Thank
man.
you.
Take
Have a good
care.
night. Wow. That that
Yeah.
was that was that was a call. That was
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh goodness, not no,
What's up?
no, no, no. I said I wasn't gonna do this today.
What? What?
Wesley.
What's up,
What?
man?
Well, I'm happy to be here. I don't know
How you
what's wrong
doing,
with
Wes?
you.
We're
Good to
happy
see you
to see
again,
you,
Don.
Wesley. I'm
Good to see you,
kidding.
man. How you doing?
I am doing well as always. You got an interesting conversation going here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this one was a hard one, honestly. This one is a really hard one. Even I couldn't answer it myself.
Yeah,
But
man.
what do you have an answer to it? Do you have an answer to it?
Meaning the root question there: can a woman tame a man?
What type of power does a woman have over a man?
Oh, you know what? That is a difficult one. The thing is, when men and women come together, it's about what powers they create together. The sum of their parts are greater than their whole, and that's why it's always been so functional for a man and woman to come together and build a life together. Because independently, independently, there's not a lot to build. Well, there's not a lot to build for. But when they come together, suddenly, they both bring half of the vision together to have a full vision. So, what power does a woman have over a man? Whatever she submits to him, and vice versa, whatever a man wants to submit to the woman. And there's always going to be power struggles between those two. One of the problems with our modern ideologies is, for the past 20 years or so, everyone's being told, well, men and women are exactly the same. Well, they may be equal in rights, but we're inherently different. It's very obviously inherently just different, not inherently wrong, inherently different. We both bring something different to the table. And that has not been acknowledged. And these conversations are all about trying to acknowledge what those differences are and how they apply. So
Mm.
I suppose in a full relationship where both parties are very vulnerable to each other, uh, a woman's femininity will always be able to calm a man when he's angry or help him focus on the greater good, because the man's going out there into the world and hunting down saber-toothed tigers. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I do on a daily basis. I'm hunting
Oh
those
my
saber-toothed
God, here
tigers.
we go.
Yeah.
Wesley, you see, not everybody lives in the hills of Idaho like you, okay? We just don't live that way
I'm
anymore.
actually in Georgia.
Whatever.
But anywho,
Wesley, so you're saying that the power is in the femininity, that the femininity is what controls the beast, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
yes, for better or for worse, toxic there's the toxic abuse of this power where women are just will go out and like use a man almost like an emotional vampire, because a man wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be loved. So
Mm-hmm.
there are women that will use that against a man, but vice versa. There's toxic men that could use their masculine power against a woman that just wants to be loved and will abuse that woman.
Mm. We just got a super chat from Rebel Rose. It says, here, let me pull it up. It says Chantel Simone is a sight to see. Sheesh. Chantel, I'm so happy to see you. Let's welcome in Chantel Simone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey
I didn't think you were gonna
Much
make it.
love.
Nice to
I'm
meet
sorry
you.
I'm late. I'm sorry, but we had a great conversation on my channel and it went over. But and
Uh-huh.
I promised I'll be here, so I'm here.
Thank you for
Great.
coming. I love your hair. It looks
Thank
so
you.
pretty.
Thank- and hey, panel. Hey,
Nice to
Scam
meet you.
Likely.
Oh my God.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Yeah, so Chantel, we have a question here going, and the question is, what control does a woman or what power does a woman have over a man, if any? If she doesn't have any, you can also say that.
A woman should not have any power over a man. I mean, that question within itself is like ridiculous. If men are the leaders, all right, men are the. I'm so sorry. I'm just
You
jumping
just
off a
came
light.
and like,
Came out
no, no,
like
no, wait, just
that.
really quick, Chantel. We had a little puzzle. You know those puzzles, those tower puzzles that you do, the what is it called? Jigsaw or something like that, where you put the pieces in the thing and it's a tower, and you just pulled all of the pieces and let the whole tower fall. What did you do?
Oh, I'm
Mm.
so sorry. But let's think of it logically, right? Let's take a step back and think of the question. And maybe I'm thinking of it from a different perspective from you guys. So I'm open to hearing the power women should have over men. But if the men are the head, men are the leaders, men are the ones who are going out fighting the tiger, the lions, tiger, and bears, as Wes said, right? um how can you have power over the head? Like it doesn't make any sense. And if we're gonna bring religion into this, every religion say that it's God, then the man, then the woman. There's no religion that says that the woman is above the man. And if it's our job as women to be protect, to protect the kids, to be nurture for the kids, then we don't have time to be having power over our men. And I think that's a disconnect we see in society. If we look at stories like Hulk, where he'll get strong and angry, and then the woman think that, oh, I can calm him down. We misinterpret that as power. It's not power. That's just your feminine energy. That's how you're supposed to be. That is, I mean, I'm
Come
open
on.
to hear any different
Come on.
perspective.
Wait,
I'm
so
with
really
it.
quickly, no, I agree too, but really
I'm with it.
quickly, what people say, what women tend to say is, okay, well, if he's the head, I'm the neck, or I'm the shoulders, or I'm the, you know what I mean? They're saying
Mhm.
we're the neck, so we help guide the head. That's what a lot of people say. I completely disagree with that because for the reasons you said, pretty much. So, Thon, what do you have to say about that? And Mr. Scam Likely, please, and Wesley.
I think that's why I was initially tripped up because, you know, I can't see a situation where a feminine woman wants power over a masculine man. So I was already stumbled from the jump. I was trying to find a contextual situation where that would be necessary or relevant anyway. She articulated it better than I ever have. That's why she's who she is. That was
Yes,
great.
I love
No
it. I
complaints.
love it. Wesley, what do you think?
I think we might be a little lost in the semantics of how we identify power. One of the
Yeah.
first things I was stating there is
Terminology.
that, yeah, one of the first things I stated there is people have the power that you allow people to have. When a man and woman is coming together in a relationship, each party is allowing the other certain powers. That's the nature of vulnerability. That's the nature of trust.
Mhm.
Trust is giving someone the ability to harm you and then
Right.
expecting them not to.
Well, that's what I said before. Remember, Thon, I asked you, is it that the man relinquishes the power to her and gives her this power or authority over him, or is it
Yeah.
something that she naturally has? And that's why I said I don't think it's something that she naturally has because, I
Yeah.
think society is giving women this power to affect men's lives for the worse. What do you think, Mr. Simp? God. Oh, God.
Simp
Mr.
Anderson.
Panderson.
Mr.
Uh,
Panderson.
there's the good, there's the bad, and the ugly. Starting with the good, positive first. Um, the man has the masculine energy. Man is the man, he's the head of the household. That feminine energy belongs to the man. That's what he married you for. It belongs to him. You're supposed to be giving it to him, and you're supposed to represent one party. So it shouldn't be a competition overpowering the household anyway. So that feminine power is a power that belongs to him that he needs when he needs. So it shouldn't be, why, what you trying to tame the lion for? It's supposed to be empowering the lion. But good women do this and they keep their men. Then there's the bad and the ugly. The bad and ugly say, and some of them don't have feminine power. They gained 100. They got married. This represents either the zombie marriage and sometimes even the divorce. Zombie marriage, she faked the feminine power or enough to get him to say, you know what, I'm going to marry you. You're a mother, queen, goddess. I love you to death. Now you're married. Then she goes and gets the ugly power and says, I'm going to gain 76 pounds. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do this. And
What is up with you in weight? Every single time you bring up these 76 pounds, 247 pounds. What is up with you in weight?
More men understand that than women, I think.
Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
I said more men understand that than women, I think.
Well, we understand that we got to maintain our value. And on our counterparts, we want them to maintain their value too. Men want pretty women. But I'm not going to really go in on the weight, but I'm just saying women not being what it is that we asked for or that we paid for or built ourselves up to become and go out and go attract. But because there's the other power that they can use, the system power. I can gain 76 pounds. I can be verbally abusive. And if you don't give me what I asked for, I'm going to call the system on you. And I'm going to take the kids. We're moving to Texas, divorce, and I'm going to take half the house and sell it on eBay. And unfortunately, it is powerful. So I say I'm a man and I got a 7 and a 12-year-old or a 3 and 6-year-old. I want my kids. I want them to be raised with their father.
Oh gosh, Sugar Bum.
But they can do this.
Oh,
Sugar Bum been after me, been taking shots at me for weeks. I
can see that. I can see that she is
like,
out for blood tonight.
Jealous.
Sugar Bum, hey,
I am 39 years old. I consistently outrun 19-year-olds.
Well, the thing is, don't worry
problem.
about it. Sugar Bum is out for blood tonight. It's one of her blood days. It's probably a full moon outside. It's okay. But no, what she's saying is there should be like, I guess what you're trying to say, Sugar Bum, I'm gonna just guess is what you're trying to say is that men are fat, but they're complaining about a woman's weight. But at the same time, it's like the majority of men, okay, even if a man is fat, men aren't desired. God, what's wrong with my voice today? Men aren't desired for their physicalities. They aren't desired for their handsomeness. They're desired for their ability to provide and protect and be leaders. This is what we want men for. So for us to judge men at the same way that they judge women, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. See, women, we are desired for how we look, our femininity, how we act, and what kind of kids we can bring. Men, it doesn't work that way. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to add. I'm sorry, Mr. Sim. Were you done?
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Chantel.
So I see where Wes is coming from. I see West Point, and to share a quick story. I'm on my pick-me duties, so I cooked the other day, and I'm Jamaican. The guy I'm dating isn't, right? So the meal I cooked, he had no idea what it was, but he ate it. To West Point, that's in some sense I had power. He ate the meal, and then the following day he asked for the same meal, but he asked for it in name, not knowing that he ate that the night before. And I said, "That's what you ate last night." And he said, "Oh, that's what it was." And I said, "Oh, so you eat without even knowing what you were eating. You trust me that much." That, in the sense, is the power that he gave me over him to share his food or to cook for him, and he blindly eats what I'm cooking for him because of the trust that he gave me. I think that's what you're saying when you say women have power over men in that sense.
Well, on the one hand, he is expecting you to not poison you, so that's good. But on the other hand, that actually means a lot to a man. The best girl I ever dated was Jamaican, and she was amazing because she cooked. That was something that really caught my attention. That means that does hold a certain power over man. I think when you say power, you're thinking of some sort of physical force field or something. But for a man, what he's looking for, that feminine nature, that's the power he's seeking. That's the power that can affect him. When a man comes home and a woman has cooked a meal for him, no matter what has happened to him in that day, that meal makes him feel like he has everything he did was right. Like everything, like no matter how many scars he occurred during the day, how cold he was in the morning when he first went to work, that meal has made up for everything. He has earned that throughout the course of the day, and he is very happy to be home, in a positive nature.
So I think it's a different definition of the term power then, because then in that sense you'll say I had power over him because I prepared a meal he knew nothing about, and he trusted that I didn't poison him. In that sense, right?
In that you've just done something really good for him,
So I
and
have
that
the
means a
power
lot to
over.
him.
Okay. So in that,
Well, you've given him purpose for his day. You gave him the power of purpose and meaning for his day. If a man comes home to a woman, that woman, he looks at that woman and be like, "Hey, you don't have a job, or you work part time. Like, it's been a whole week. I have not come home to a home cooked meal once." The man is looking for something else, unless he really wants to torture himself.
so then I can see in that sense then where a woman, in that sense, a woman will have power in a relationship, or I wouldn't necessarily call it power over the man still though, but that's the power that she has in the relationship.
Maybe the word influence would make
Maybe.
more sense, because power and influence kind of go hand in hand. That's kind of the semantics we seem to be dealing with, but it's a term that we're mutually trying to figure out right now.
I was actually speaking about actual power, not just influence. I was speaking about power being when I say go, you go. When I say this, you move. Like influence is like, can you please go? I would like you to move. You're influencing the person to do it. Power is I said do it and you did it.
Oh, to command someone to do something regardless of
Something like,
what's going
something
on
like that,
in a
but commanding
relationship.
without actually speaking it. Does that make sense? So that's what I meant by power. Is you're commanding it without actually speaking it. You're not asking, you're not influencing, you have
It
this
seems
power over someone, right?
it seems a bit
So
militant.
I understand what you're saying.
a little bit, yeah. So that's what I was thinking about. But I think Chantel answered my question the way I needed it to be answered, like with the answer, because truthfully, I don't think that women can control men. And this is why I brought up the example about in the Middle East, when men are doing something, or let's say they're out of control, women just kind of stand by and wait for it to be done. We don't really go in the middle and say, it's okay, I can control this. You go there, you go there, listen to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I
I got
couldn't find a contextual situation where a woman needs to be dominant over or have power over a man who she needs to be powerful and dominant, So, you know, I'm with you.
And I mean, we see this even in relationships when women will try to change men, will try to if he's not a romantic guy or something, and or if he cheats, I don't know, and she'll try to stay with him to change him, thinking that she can use her power to
Yeah.
influence him to be different. But we talked about this on Wednesday, I want to say, with Jonathan on the Broken Dusty, on the Lapeef Network.
Broken what?
Dusty something they have on Wednesday nights.
yeah.
And they talked about this, like there's nothing a woman can say in holding men accountable. The topic was if women can hold men accountable, and there's nothing really a woman can say for a man to think that, oh yeah, let me change or let me do this. That's a man's job, other men in the community job.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like if men are expected to hold other men accountable, why can't women do the same? And this is something else that I was speaking about, is that women, we are afraid to, as we call it, check one another. We are afraid to do it because women, like I said, we're vicious. Chantel, please let them know what I'm talking about. Women, I look, a lot of people are afraid to even say it in a chat. When I brought it up last time, they're like, "Oh, I don't know what kind of women you met." Or I'm like, "No, please don't act like you don't know how vicious women can be, especially between other women."
Like I mean, some hateful comments, and I'm like, damn, do you know me personally, or is it just my YouTube channel? Like, women will go at it, like, the pick me names, and they'll look for things to talk about, personal things. They'll ignore your message and then just try to talk about you, and
Exactly.
like yeah, like there's no one can really hold women accountable.
And even in person, if you try to tell a woman, oh, can you like pull your skirt down, you're dressing improper, who are you to tell me what to do? Like, mind your own business. Why don't you pluck your eyebrows? That's what they say to me. Why don't you pluck your eyebrows first before you come talking about my skirt? I'm like, oh my God, can I just say one thing to you? And it's like they always have to find something to throw back to you. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in a relationship with a woman. This is why I feel for men. I feel for men, and I mostly feel for Gen Z men, because Gen Z men are growing up with a different type of woman. This woman that they're growing up with, I can't even explain. I am scared for them. And especially because Gen Z men are more feminized than men before them. Even millennial men are still even more masculine than Gen Z men. So we have to worry about the generation coming up. What do you guys think about them?
They're done. Just, I mean,
Did you just say?
Like,
What did you say?
yeah. Well, the question being asked, I had a cousin. She's married, 4 children. And I asked her, like, do you belong to that man over there? She'll say yes. She's a good wife. Okay, you got 3 boys and 1 girl, and she works in the school system, so she knows what's coming up being raised. She knows these parents, what these households look like. And I asked her, do you see spouses for your children to choose from? She's like, and all she can say is, oh man, I hope. Like, okay, well, they need to learn about 6 languages. They need to make at least 6 figures by the time they're 17, because you got to be almost a god to get cooperation from your spouse, or to have to compete with the TV, social media, the bonnet brigade, the bonnet brigade.
So think about that. These are the kids being raised by the millennials. The kids that are raised by millennials, and millennials are lost as it is. Imagine the children being raised by these people.
Right. Who's teaching women how to be wives right now? And where are they at in America? Women actually being taught how to be a wife. The 11, the 7, the 13-year-olds. Is there anything showing that these women are going to be our future wives, or our kids, our nephews' future wives? I don't see anything. I don't see the wives in my generation. I'm still looking for one, and I got to come out here with a sniper rifle. I make good money. I'm not overweight. Actually, I think I'm looking kind of good.
Sugar Bum said you're fat. I'm just kidding.
But I mean, I can always get better. But me and even a lot of my friends, half my friends just quit. They just said, forget it. Just no. They're looking and seeing what's out there. Like, oh, no. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. That's that question that you asked. I don't even have an answer for it.
Either.
No. Who's making the wives nowadays? Who's training the girls, the 9, 13, 15-year-old to be a wife?
YouTube.
You gotta go recruit overseas or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say music.
Then they get mad at us for that. It was good, Jedi.
What's up,
Hey.
Jedi? What's up, man?
Come on, Wes.
A little more.
Spit some fire, Jedi.
No, Wesley.
No, I was just sitting back, just watching. You just going talking about the weight and all the mess and stuff. I was just like, keep going, keep going.
How
you doing, Chantel? How you doing?
Hey, Jen.
Doing it.
Pick any chat, pick any Lapeef, and actually, this is a manosphere space, or fairly manosphere space. Go look at any day and look at the chat. How many wives can we even choose from in the chat? And they're supposed to be on our side.
Look, you're gonna get the whole chat turned against
Yo, bro.
you.
Yeah, you
don't do this.
Playing with fire. Playing with fire.
I don't recommend
They
you
was
do
firing
that.
on me all. I mean, I'll take the villain role. Fire on me.
What's
Sugar
good, Black
Bum
Light?
already smelled blood
Chat,
with
they
you.
crucify us, and honestly, some of us actually want better for them, even them in the chat.
Let me add, I think a lot of, and we were literally just talking about this earlier on my live stream. I think a lot of women want to be married. They don't want to be wives. I think in this day and age, everybody want the wedding dress and the ring and to post on social media that I got my man. But in terms of the wash, cook, clean, submit, especially in, oh God, submit. They don't want a man to lead. They want to be his equal partner. They want to both run things in the household. And that just shows that, one, they don't know what it takes and what it means to be a wife. No research is being put in. Okay, what do men want? What would my husband want from me? And then we have platforms in the manosphere who will say stuff like, okay, your man want corporation, your man want you slim, fit, Your man want to be able to pick you up, and then you have women saying, well, men are fat too. That's not the point. We're asking what men want, right? So the simple fact, I know no shade to the young lady who made a comment, but the simple fact that we're talking about women being fat, women getting married and gaining weight, which I've seen that multiple times in my personal life, right? Best friend went from a 120 pounds to almost 300 pounds in just 2 years of marriage. And yeah. The simple fact that we can't even have this conversation without somebody saying, well, men are fat too. What are men doing? It's like, come on, do we want to see
Sign
better, or
language.
do we want to, put blame who is worse?
Well, I want to respond to that because it's like I was on another live stream just talking about these about the same issue, but what is it equates to talking about weight, talking about someone's hair, decide whatever it's all about preferences, right? And I think as anybody, in terms of if you done everything but working to become the best version of yourself, you have every right to have your preferences. I think we always just talk about the woman's preferences, right? That's forgiven. Who cares what the guy wants, right? But the thing is that if he's going to be the leader, he has every right to his preferences as well. And I think we always don't make that distinction, right? Because especially in our community, what's the two biggest thing we always get? The weight and the hair for women, right? Now, one thing that we always keep hearing it's too much work. Well, guess what? As your leader, it's too much work for me to basically die for you. It's too much work for me to actually lead the family, protect you. We're supposed to go out, fight the world, come back home, right? That's too much work. But if we say that, we just complain. We're not really men, because we're not being told to be complain.
You're fat shaming.
But regardless of talking about the weight thing, I'm talking about just basically the idea of just preferences, right? I just think as any person, you're saying, well, the men fat are fatter too, blah blah, whatever. Well, you can say that distinction, whatever, but unfortunately, we're not our value really is not determined on terms of the same thing we put on women. It's totally two different opposites. So
I
for
want
you
to
to
bring up
hold
a
the same,
point really quickly after
go ahead.
Jedi. After Jedi.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to. I thought you want to
No,
make. You
after
go ahead.
you.
Okay. But no, basically what I was saying is that we always get the whole thing about, well, whose preference is above the other, right? Then it's like I have to have mine, but if you have yours, that's a problem. I think that we're kind of wasting that time because, especially in terms of men, in terms of the values and us in terms of our resources, our protection, our leadership, right? And most of the things, regardless in terms of our weight and everything like that, that's honestly, unfortunately, by society standards, we're not determined by that. So I just think why I kind of encourage women. We mentioned what Sim Panderson was talking about, about are we being raised to be wives and and stuff like that for women. It's just the whole thing is, are you raised to not only be wives, but are you raised to be seen as valuable to the opposite person or the opposite sex, right? And that's for both men and women. We ask that question because you focus on more on semantics on the micro level thing of talking about, well, I want to focus on a man who's 6 foot, whatever. Okay, regardless if he's 6 foot or not, can he actually lead? Or he actually protect you, whatever. Okay, a woman, okay, regardless if her hair is natural, is she a helpmate to you? Is she actually assisting to the family? Is she marriage minded? Is she has wife mindset, thinking that she's not going with the 50-50, going with the 100? All those things I think we have to discuss though. But yeah.
I wanted to bring up a point about culture as well because this is what I have to offer you. I have the different perspective to offer you from my culture, and I think a reason why a lot of us women like it is you do have some women that balloon after they get married, but the majority of Muslim women tend to pretty much stay the same after marriage. But unless they have like 5 kids, that's different. But I thought it was a reason that this could be part of the reason why when we get married, the men pay for us. Though they don't pay for us in that way, but they pay money to our families or they give a gift to the woman, which is kind of like, you guys call it dowry, we call it mahar, but this is
Yes.
a form of payment. It's almost like saying, how can I say, depending on the woman and her virginity status, depending on, how, I hate to put it this way, but if she's good or not in a way, you know what I mean? Is going to depend on what type of mahar she will have. If she's virgin, she can ask for 16 gold bars, 3 camels, and whatever else, if she is, virgin and all of that. If you are not, you can't ask for all of that. You can only ask for, maybe a diamond ring and some flowers. There you go. And that's your mahar. But I think part of the reason why we do that is because we know that the man actually put in something to have us. Does that make sense? I hate feeling like I'm saying that the men pay for us. It's not.
I believe it's called
Actually,
a
I
Zahavian
understand.
signal.
It's a what?
I said I believe it's called a Sahavian signal. I have to look that up.
I don't know what that means,
But that's well, no, that's all throughout. That's actually all throughout nature, specifically with mammals, where the male will what is it called? Make a great sacrifice or propose to make a great sacrifice to show how willing he is to commit to a project.
I see. Well, for us, it's like
Zahavian signal.
the man has to give something in order to take us. It's not like American culture where the man doesn't have to do these kind of things to have a woman. So the woman, no, this is just a thinking. I'm just proposing this. Now you guys tell me if I'm wrong. So maybe the woman feels like, well, there's no real reason for me to maintain myself or to behave a certain way because he didn't have to put anything in to get me. Pretty much, he just asked me to marry him, and I said yes. This is just a mutual agreement. It has nothing to do with any amount of money or material things being given. Does that make sense? Because in our case, we have our father involved, we have the family involved, everyone is there, we have money being exchanged, we have sometimes gold, sometimes houses, sometimes cars. There's so much being exchanged when a woman gets married that we kind of have pressure on us to perform. We have pressure to perform because we're like, wow, all of that stuff happened because of me, so I need to perform. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's done on the back end in America. Like I have a healthy salary, got decent money or whatever, not rich, but if I go marry and I go take a bad deal, I get divorced, I get robbed on the back end versus paying upfront price for a spouse. So if I get hit for alimony, hit for child support, hit for whatever, I end up paying that price on the back end. If you understand what I'm saying.
But that's wrong because you're paying not because you're getting something, but you're paying because you're losing something at that point.
That's the problem.
Well, I think
I
remember
see. I see. That's
so
bad.
Honestly, probably a lot of valuable men wish that we could actually go to an auction and say, "Hey, let me show you my value. Let me look for my spouse. Okay, I make this amount. Look at my abs. I can run a 7-minute mile. I got this here, some of that there, and then go to the market and they say, Mr. Panderson, we got this woman for you. She's about a 7.5.
These things were made illegal a long time ago.
Yeah, a lot of men will take that deal. Then the millionaires get the 10s. The average men will get their average spouse and lead a market. Or they would go save up and build themselves up. They would probably do this. But we don't have this open market. Instead, the valuable men can end up getting robbed on the back end if they make a bad deal.
Okay, I want to make a quick announcement. I'm leaving Vaughn and Chantel in charge for just like 10 minutes. I gotta go make tea for the family, and I'm coming right back. So you guys are in charge for 10 minutes or about 7 minutes. 7 minutes. I'll be right back, okay?
All right. And people in the chat, I love you.
Don't get us blocked. Don't get us blocked. I'll be right back.
To that comment earlier, I do love people in the chat, and I want to see better for everybody. Just to clear that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think what kind of one thing I'm hearing was like when you can't get into these relationships, whether either pre, because it's very funny how like we do everything to obtain the relationship, to obtain the woman, obtain the man, whatever, in terms of whether it might be our resources or how we look physically to be attractive to to the opposite person, right? But then when we have them, then we kind of give up everything that got them there in the first place. And I think I think on both sides, I want to kind of come from both on men's side, women's side, where women think that they only watch what men do in terms of like the resources, can you lead, all this stuff, or how you go into the gym. But men, like I watch in terms of what women say in terms of how they conduct themselves. It's not just because how long they spend in the bathroom, but just like in terms of her hygiene. Like for example, my generation, some girls, they're they take care of, in terms of their face and everything, like their edges are laid, face is beat, right? The edges are laid, but their bedroom is not made, right? They took selfies, right? They call men filthy. but just like the mirror you took the selfie on, they're both the same. So it's just like, are we gonna actually be honest about here that we don't care about hygiene too? And that's what I saw with my girl too. Like, we both are very observant people. And I think that we so try to gloss that over because do we qualify for the person they're doing? And then when we have them, are you maintaining that? And then are you maintaining that consistency? You know, especially as men, are we being men of consistency? In terms of not just like the things that we do in our leadership, in our no, what we do. Women, are you being consistent in terms of what you're contributing to the family, your morals, in terms of what you are doing in terms of assisting your leader, right? I it's like we don't really have that very that transparent and more honest conversation with each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think you hit on some really good things, some really good stuff. Especially the hygiene is a great analogy as well. But yeah, man. I wanted to ask you guys some of the questions that we asked some of the other people before we got all the way here, because man, they were kind of tricky. I want to see what you had on it, Jedi, because people tend to like what you have to say. Pretty popular on here. I want
Really?
to know, yeah, man, yeah, you're a regular, man. I enjoy you.
Okay, right.
Yeah, man. I actually want to know what you got on this, man.
Sure. Bring it to me.
Especially the first one when it says, "What power does a woman hold over a man?" This has been we kind of all decided that Chantel kind of knocked this one out of the park, but we want to still get everybody's perspective on this really great question Ameera thought of. What power does a woman have over a man? What you got?
Um, well, I guess you can say, do you consider power and influence as one and the same?
No, and I think that, and I'm glad you said that, because
Right.
that's what sort of muddied up the
Mhm.
I think we got tripped up in terminology, and really, it's very difficult to find, like I said, a contextual situation where a woman would want power over a man. I think that kind of goes against why a woman looking for a man who is masculine and powerful. A woman wouldn't want to dominate something that she wants to be dominant. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
I think the only type of power she has is what you allow her to get, like,
Yeah,
what you
what you
give her, because
relinquish. Mhm.
right, because what I mean by that, like, basically any type of no, this is why I want to kind of go into men on this while answering your question, and
Mhm.
so I encourage men to be self-disciplined, right? Especially with sexual discipline. Why? Because sex is power, right?
Mhm.
And that thing that women think that if any type they see a man who is unstable, who's very uncontrollable in terms of sexual desires or urges, she's gonna see that and she's gonna take advantage of it, right? And unfortunately, as men and being effective leaders, you cannot give her the access to that power, right? Because not only that's gonna lead to your demise, can lead to her demise as well, right?
Facts.
So that's why I emphasize this on encouraging having self discipline.
Mhm.
What women can do in terms of like any type of I call it influence is like terms of if she can discern in terms of as a woman that sometimes men we can't see, where it might be other, situations around other folks or whatever it might be. It's like, hey, sweetheart, like, I'm identifying a problem here. Can I share this with you? Okay, all right, let me, we got to say that's influence, right? But then that
Right.
influence and when it's directed to you, then that gives you the man to make the decision, which is power. Right. I
Facts.
don't want to like kind of make the distinction, just say as women, when you're hearing what I'm saying that, oh, so we have no power at all. No, you understand, like, what's like we keep going to Sister Shraz Ali. Like, if you control cooking in the house, guess what? You control the lifespan of the people who live there. That is a form of influence that you might have over there in terms of, hey, let's eat healthier. So that also affect not only in terms of our eating habits, our weight, but more importantly, our mindset as people. So I encourage that with women thinking that when you have a distinction between influence and power, is that there's a way that you can manipulate situations for your benefit, but in terms of who is it benefiting for, your independency or or your
Come on.
interdependency,
Come on.
but your interdependency with the man and the overall family.
Right. 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 I knew you would get us together, Jedi. That was great.
Mhm.
Yeah. And when I think about ish testing, I don't know about monetization. I'm going to say ish
I know
testing.
exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually proof that women don't want to dominate a man, and they will put you through test to ensure, like I just was talking about this on my channel, how women play a game where they want to attempt to move you from your square, but they don't want you to actually move from your square. They want to see if your feet are planted in the ground, which more represents masculinity. If she tells you to move and you actually do, she could eat your head off. So, and guys have seen this. They'll go, well, I did everything she wanted me to do. She told me to do this. I did it. And then they wonder why they lost the chick and whatever. And it's because you stopped being the thing that actually attracted her. Matter of fact, when you told her no a couple of times, I actually preach on my channel. It's kind of a joke, but I'm like, don't even let her choose what you watch on Netflix. Seriously, just have a way about you. Like, I don't care what it is, just have a way about you. You know what I mean? Like, don't, if you lack structure and you lack boundaries, she'll come in and try to do that herself, but she's actually on her way out of the door even as she does that.
Right, and I'm gonna be making a video about this, about boundaries, because I try to teach folks in my younger age, like in my generation, about this, because you can start enforcing boundaries at a in your early 20s, then when you get to your 30s, 40s, and basically be like clockwork. Now, what you
Right.
said, what you said, talking about what type of power that you have over somebody. I have this rule, and I told my girl this: no woman is above my principles. Right? What I mean by that? I mean that no matter, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do, it's like no woman's above my principles. My principles are the foundation, right? And because knowing that you're not gonna go above that, that's gonna lead to your protection, right?
Right.
Because what I mean by these principles, what I mean in terms of my moral care, my religious beliefs might be, in terms of what I believe, in terms of my values, in terms of in leadership, how I lead, how I communicate, in terms of, hey, listen, I'm going to be very direct with you. I'm not going to be playing no games. You won't go games. You can go back to the playground and go in the, I don't do that. Right.
Right.
And with that, I said, I also make sure that when we have issues of conflict, that we're making sure we're, that we're going to, deal with the issue head on, and we're not going to be staying low to bar where it's like, oh, there's an issue now. We're just gonna be walking, in a room, not talking to each other. I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that.
Right.
And I seen that with my parents, right? Our parents were married for over 27 years, and my father's a pastor, and also I want to claim this too. There've been a lot of assumptions about me. Like, I know people give me props, like how I communicate and stuff. Like, oh, your parents was so great. And must, like, listen, it took a long road to get to where we are today, right? Even myself included. So, and don't think that nobody's exempt from uh uh you know this walk of life. Life happens, right? And situations where I've been heat arguments with my own mother. I did a video on my channel with talking about I had to forgive my mother for situations that she did to me as a child, and now that I'm an adult, but I'm still her son, we have a level of communication now that's greater than ever, right? The way my father and my mother communicate and stuff, over 27 years, they're both in their 60s now. They realize, hey, listen, we can't be arguing this right now. It's bad for our health, right? We've lived more time on this earth than we have left. So we gotta get straight to the point, right? We can't be work on this foolishness, right? And with that, I discern, like, in terms of my girl, is just knowing, hey, listen, identifying what the issues that we have to address, and take all that BS and throw it out the window, right? 'Cause I think we love, unfortunately in our community, dysfunction has become our function, right? And to me, I rebuke that. I don't accept that at all. And so that's why I encourage, in terms of us as, black men and black women, like, in the space you talk about this whole gender war, like, what is the issue, right? You have women claiming that all men aren't the problem, right? Or you have men claiming all women is the problem. That's not the issue. The issue is our culture. Is our culture actually promoting effective relationships, seeing value with each other, right? Is our culture promoting in terms of having effective relationships, and leading to more effective outcomes in the children? Are we having those conversations, right? Because when we talk about accountability, you can't have accountability without what? Self-awareness, right? Which we lack in our community. So, and I think that a lot of people with self-awareness come with self-reflection. We don't like that. We like to deflect, right? So, and I think with that is that we don't really want to have more provoking and accountable conversations, because sometimes it can be like Michael Jackson. We got to look in the man in the mirror, but we don't like to look at that individual, right? No, women sometimes don't want to look at terms of leading in terms of demise of their relationship, because they were listening to their girlfriends, right? The men, you claim, you talk about all the only, these girls for the streets. But if I check your credit card payments, you got OnlyFans subscriptions, right? And you're putting your seed in the trash can, not in the cultivation of a godly woman. See this, like we got. Come on now, come on.
Come on, Jedi.
Welcome
For
back,
real,
Ameera.
man. I hear you, man. Get them together. Get them
Hey,
together.
sorry
I'm
guys.
with it. What's up? Welcome back.
Yeah, tea is a serious thing in our culture. Like tea is life. So I had to go make the tea and I'm good.
What kind of tea?
Black, and we do some green, but mostly we do black. We do like a
Okay, awesome.
Turkish black tea. It's a very strong black tea.
Yeah, I'm kind of a tea guy. I drink tea during my shows. Like that's like literally I have to drink tea during my show. Yeah, black
Really?
tea is
Yeah,
great.
we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
super tea drinkers. Like when people come
Mm.
over, it's like tea, tea, tea straight away. We don't even ask you. We just start making tea and putting it in your face.
Oh yeah, meditation in the cup. Yep.
All right. So what's the topic now?
Jedi was preaching just now.
Oh yeah, we asked Jedi the question that that stumped the entire panel, myself included. And he gave a very great elaborate answer that led into some other things that I'm pretty sure a lot of people might even clip tomorrow because it was pretty good. It was a nice little, Jedi is very modest. The other day, I kid you not, I was watching the Lapeef Network. I think it was one of the reruns or something, and my girl actually Jedi started going on one of his rants. My girl was like, "Is that Jedi?" I said, "That's Jedi." I'm telling you, man, you're out here, man, making a name. Keep doing your thing. Keep coming how you coming, man. I like your
appreciate it.
style. I like
I
your
remember
style.
when Jedi was new. I remember when he was new and he just
Yeah.
made guest appearances on the Lapeef Network, and now he's like a
Oh
name of the
yeah.
network.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
getting DMs, y'all. Like it's getting that point, like from folks
Yeah.
like who watch it. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate it, but my thing, I also want to be very, very clear on this is that this can go over people's heads so quick, and I don't want to miss this opportunity that I get to talk to folks my age because like I got a long way to go, and I don't want to stand before you act like I'm this perfect man individual. I'm sharing these things. I'm just saying, like I went through certain experiences and also with my family and everything. So to the point where I'm very observant of situations, and I'm tired of this whole arguing mess like that. We're going back and forth, and we just target solutions. But with solutions and being, providing the truth sometimes can be offensive, and that's the only way you can seek truth. Sometimes. So that's why I just want to make sure that I'm not exempt from accountability as well. And I'm like, and people who are older than me, sometimes I just shut up and listen. I don't want, I don't want to take advantage of that. But yeah.
Respect.
And that's a wise move. That's wisdom right there because a lot of people don't know when to be quiet. And I've always said that too because sometimes when some people come on, especially elders, like, I call them elders because they're older than me. But, when I consider someone an elder or somebody, even like with Crimson, no, she's not an elder, but she is to me because we are the same culture. In our culture, if I were to look through her and I would talk over her or something like that, it is seen as really disrespectful. And when she speaks, I'm just quiet. I'm just, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like, I can't say anything.
Shout out to Crimson.
And I think Jedi just touched on a really important part. As a content creator myself, we're not coming from a place of perfection. And I think a lot of times people may hear us talk and, say certain things and criticize certain things and thinking that, oh, we're above and beyond. Like, we're just so great and we have life all figured out. Like, nowhere close to that. As we're having these conversations, we're hopefully learning from each other so we can become the best version of ourselves. And it's just so that we're having this conversation in public, on the internet in public, so other people can learn what we are also learning too.
Hey, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about women holding men accountable, I actually somewhat disagree. I think women should be able to hold men accountable. Let's just say I'm a new content, which I'm not a content creator, but I come into these spaces. Ameera, Chantel are in these spaces. This is what you do. This is what you do. If I came on a platform talking crazy, can't you hold me accountable? Or be like, hey, Panderson, hey, you're out of line, bro. You can't come over here. Isn't that holding me accountable?
I wouldn't even say that to you though, because I've had people come on to this channel even speaking crazy or something, and I just respectfully say, okay, thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you so much. Because not kick them off, but there's nowhere that I can go with the person if they are stuck in a mentality that's convoluted, that's a little bit, even if I try to give them an opposing view or something, I'm not holding that person accountable if I'm just trying to give you a different perspective and you don't listen to me and you're just like, no, I'm gonna keep doing it this way, this way, this way. I'm not gonna say, no, don't come over here with that nonsense or something like that. I'm just gonna say, okay, well, thank you so much or something. But typically in my case, the men jump on. Typically when that happens, Anton or JR would jump on and handle it, because that's a man to man thing. But
True.
I can't do it.
And I
Okay.
also want to add, I think
Great
I
answer.
think there's a difference between holding someone accountable and giving feedback. Now, say Mr. St. Pierre, and we talked about this on Wednesday with Jedi. What's it called? Is it a broken dusty?
Yeah, it's Broken Dusty
Broken
show with
dusty, right?
Jonathan Merville. Yeah.
Oh
And we
my
talked
God.
about this, like giving pointers. If you want to become a content creator, and you come on and how you're doing your channel probably is not in the right direction to be successful, then I'm giving you pointers. I'm not holding you accountable. And that question reminds me of when I was a personal trainer and I would get requests from men for me to train them, and I would always refer them to my ex-boyfriend, who is also a personal trainer, because I think there's a hierarchy to things, and in being your trainer as a woman for a man, and it might be silly, but I saw it as I would have to be holding you accountable, making sure that you're on your meal plan, making sure that you're showing up to the gym. I don't see that as my job as a woman. I think men are better at holding other men accountable, and that's why I would always refer male clients to a male personal trainer. But in giving feedback, if you ask me how many, what your macronutrients should be, I could gladly tell you that, but I'm not training you.
Yeah, I mean, I watch my tone with men because we're taught a certain way. Like I said, in our culture, you just don't elevate your tone at a certain decibel, like with men, and even being snappy or being like, don't come here with this or something. I can't do it. It's just like, if I feel like it's weird or if it's an awkward moment, I would just say, thank you so much for joining us. I will, I appreciate your input. Thank you so much. Bye bye. That's it. But I can't like what you're saying, Mr. Panderson. I can't do that. I wouldn't do it. No.
Okay, I'm just off. I guess I can understand that feedback versus actually holding accountable. I understand it. Well
And
put.
feedback, yeah. Or just a different perspective as well. Some people just need a different perspective. Some people want to hear something different that they never thought about before. And I want to try to offer that, but there's some people who don't care about your perspective. They're just like, no, I see it this way, and they won't even be respectful to you. I haven't had that much because typically people here are very, very civil, very classy. I haven't had people come in here like, you know what I mean? I haven't had it. So I'm and shout out to everyone. Thank you guys for being this way. I appreciate all of you for actually being respectful and classy, not being like, so rude or talking over people. And, that's what I'm glad about this show. We never really have that. We have very civil conversations here, and I appreciate all of you.
Mhm. Ashley, I want to emphasize, I think, what Blacklight was mentioning before you came on. It was talking about how sometimes the girls want to
Oh
test you and get
yeah.
off your frame. It goes to what you were talking about. If I have with Ameera, if I had disagreement with you, right? How would we go about it, right? Because this basically goes to what Mr. Lee, and shout out to him, talking about like men shouldn't argue with women. He's absolutely right. And I remember that, obviously it's infamous of a certain incident that happened on Monday's show a couple weeks ago, that I didn't like the way I conducted myself, right? And that was a moment where I was off my frame. And as I observed how I was acting in that situation, regardless of other people in that uh, interaction, I know that I cannot afford to lose my frame like that again. Now, people, like I said, have their own opinions about that situation, but just point saying that men should argue with women, because if I'm speaking to you, if I know what I said to you was the truth, I don't have to repeat myself. I'll have to say it the one time. And that's the thing I think sometimes men forget that women know, is that with that whole back and forth, they want that, right? You cannot give them that. As men, we can't. We can't. It's okay that you might have lost your friend one time, so you can be self-aware. But then when you're self-aware, be accountable and realize, okay, now you can change patterns of behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm saying that making sure people, if you're on YouTube as a content creator like myself, like we have the playback button sometimes, and it might sometimes you got to eat that one-time embarrassment, where you got to look back, man, what the hell did I just do, right?
Yeah.
So that moving forward that you can act accordingly.
Yeah. Everybody, I think every content creator makes a video that they look back and they're like, "Oh, cringe. Oops." I mean, even I've had that. I've had that moment where I'm like, "Oh no, what did I do?" I privatized that video so fast. Really quickly, let me address the super chat. Thank you, Lou Cassie. She says that is where the do not cast pearls to
pearls amongst the
swine
swine.
comes in. The passage tells us that there is no sense to invest into the unteachable. Ooh, likes. And also, I wanted to say, Teddy, he says Ameera stays on her feminine and lets Charlie loose. Oh God, I can't even say his name. He's locked in the bathroom right now because he doesn't know how to act when I'm on camera. So I'm teaching him a lesson right now, guys. I'm sorry. But I can't say his name because then he's gonna start crying. I feel so bad for him. I should let him out, but he acts like a psycho. Every time I get online, he acts like a psycho. You guys know who Charlie is, right? It's my cat.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like standard cat behavior.
Yeah, he's locked in the bathroom right now because he starts climbing on the curtains when I'm like on live stream, and then I have to whatever. You guys don't need to hear my problems.
Such a jealous cat you have.
I know. He's probably like, pay attention to me. I don't know. But guys, are you guys ready to close down? Did everybody get their points across?
I did. This was a great
Yeah.
discussion too. Loved it. Loved it. Challenging in the right way. Went deep. It was good. Good. Great callers as well. Thanks for
It
having
was.
me.
Thank you so much.
I got one saved point I didn't get to get out.
Which
Oh
one?
yeah. Oh yeah.
The tradition of wedding rings. Remember, it used to be 2 months' salary. That's the Zahavian signal, similar to what you were bringing up earlier about how the man has to present some form of wealth.
Mm.
But that used to be still a common practice in the United States. We've been getting away from those traditions that kind of held us together because we forgot why they were there. But the Zahavian signal, which has been identified all throughout nature, it's about willing to put yourself at great risk because now you're invested. Now the other person knows you're invested as well.
Mm.
So that goes to your point as to what the and I can't pronounce the Arabic word for it.
Mahr. Oh, Wesley, I thought you weren't racist today. I thought you were only racist on Tuesdays. What happened?
Oh, you know what? I'm off a few days. The power's been out all day. Don't worry. I'll get back to you Tuesday. We'll hash that whole thing out.
You know what?
I expect you all to be here so you can feel my wrath.
Every Tuesday, his brown curtain goes down and the white one goes up. You guys know that, right? You guys didn't know that? Guys, so all right, then I think we're ready to get off. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Sunday meeting, our regular Sunday meeting. I hope to see you guys next Sunday. Have a great week. And thank you guys. We yield our time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, stay blessed.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tiege Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tiege Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tiege Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tiege Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tiege. Let the Tiege force be with you.